The 2019 World Blitz Chess Championship took place in Moscow's Luzhniki Stadium, with 159 grandmasters competing in the fast-paced tournament. The event attracted top chess players from all corners of the world, including defending champion Magnus Carlsen, widely regarded as one of the best players of all time. Carlsen had won numerous titles in his career, including the World Championship and the previous two World Blitz Championships, making him the player to beat in the tournament. Hikaru Nakamura was Carlsen's opponent in the final game, a highly skilled and experienced player with a reputation for speed and tactics. Nakamura had won various titles, including the United States Chess Championship. The final game was a showdown between two chess titans, with both players having collected an impressive 16.5 points out of 21 in the tournament. The world watched eagerly to see who would emerge as the ultimate champion. Magnus began the game by playing his pawn to d4, and Hikaru responded by playing his knight to f6. Magnus then played the flexible move knight to f3, which allows white to choose between different systems such as the Queen's Gambit or the London system. This move is called flexible because it offers different options for white depending on black's response. Hikaru responded with a pawn move to d5, effectively controlling the center of the board alongside Magnus. Magnus then made the move bishop to f4, indicating his use of the London system. Having used it to defeat the previous world champion Vladimir Kramnik earlier in the tournament, Magnus saw no reason not to use it again. Hikaru made a pawn move to c5, attacking the d4 pawn. Magnus responded by playing his pawn to e3 to support the d4 pawn. After several developing moves, Magnus captured the c5 pawn with his d-pawn. Hikaru recaptured the pawn with his queen, and Magnus subsequently played his pawn to c4. This position was rarely seen before, and Hikaru opted to take the pawn on c4, resulting in a new position that had never been played before. Magnus recaptured with his bishop, developing it to c4. After Hikaru castled, Magnus played his rook to c1 instead of castling directly, which created an X-ray attack on the queen, gaining a tempo. After Hikaru retreated his queen to e7, Magnus castled. The difference in development between the two armies was evident, with nearly all of white's pieces being developed while black's forces still had some work to be done. Hikaru responded by playing his pawn to b6, creating space for his bishop on b7. Magnus connected his rooks and played queen to e2. After Hikaru developed his bishop to b7, Magnus decided to bring his last piece into the game by playing rook f to d1. With Hikaru developing his other knight to d7, the real battle began. Magnus decided it was time to start fighting, and played his bishop to a6. After some maneuvering, Magnus offered another exchange, this time a queen exchange. Magnus is not afraid of exchanging pieces, as he is considered one of the best players in endgames. Exchanging pieces usually brings the game closer to the endgame. Knowing that, Hikaru refused the offer and played his queen to a6. Magnus continued his pressure and played his knight to c6, threatening the annoying fork on e7 whenever black plays any rook to c8. Hikaru avoided that and escaped with his king to h8. Magnus activated his other knight to c4, and Hikaru decided to take a risk by capturing the pawn on a2, which required him to be extremely accurate during the rest of the game. After a couple of moves, Magnus played his knight to d6, threatening the move g5, followed by capturing the f7 pawn. And even though the only available move for Hikaru in this position was to capture the b2 pawn, under extreme time pressure, he missed it and played knight to b3 instead. The position became winning for Magnus, who continued to maintain his kingside initiative and improve it further. Eventually, he played the decisive move, rook to h4. Hikaru found nothing to do here, so he played knight to c5. At this critical moment, Magnus played knight takes f7 check, a logical move. However, it was interesting to see that the world champion missed a mate in 3 in this position. Instead of knight takes f7, he could have sacrificed his rook on h7. When black captures with his king, white gives a check with his queen on h5, followed by a checkmate with the knight from e7. After a couple of moves, Magnus was able to maintain his advantage and ended the game by playing his last move, rook to f4. Hikaru resigned, announcing Magnus as the World Blitz champion for the 3rd time in a row.